Welcome, 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 everybody. It's been so long since I did one of these CNC shows, I forgot what I'm doing here. I thought I was playing the intro and I hit the outro for a second. I thought, whoops, that's the wrong one.
Oh, that's what that hiccup was.
Yeah, I hit the outro. The thing come up and said, thanks for watching. We hadn't got started yet. So. All righty. I think we got things under control now, maybe. We'll see. Already got a good crowd hanging out over there in the tube, so thank y'all. My buddy Hitch is watching on the Facebooks. Thank you, Hitch. Tyler Jackson, Ian Foote. There's Mr. Hobby, Dave Matthews, Rick Pilecki, Dale Ludlam, Ed Newman, Mike Haichu, my gosh, the list goes on and on. Greg Euler. Whoop. Let's see. Harnell Media, Mr. Steve. There's Mark Lindsay, CNC. Mark, I hope you got your voice back. I noticed I didn't see a live stream today, so hope that hope you got your voice back a little bit. Let's see. There we got Mr. Sinicola back in here. Tyler Jackson. I never did hear the punchline to that joke, Matt Haas. You have to tighten up. You can't start a joke and not finish it. Jared Seymour, Jacques Debeur, I guess is how you say it, from New Zealand. Welcome. Jeff Nearcorn. Man, we got a bunch of folks on here. I'm still not to the end of it. Robert Crow, Steve Gronsky, Jerry Cooper, Rick Reeder, Harry Ragland, holy cow, Terry Cup, Donald Brunswick, Terry Dowes. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Thank you all for tuning in. It just jumped up suddenly from about 20-something to 40-something over there on the tube. So there's another one just popped in here. Good afternoon from Auckland. That's where is that? Is that Australia? Not even sure where that is. All right, welcome everybody. We are here. Did I lose Jim again? There he is. We are here.
Sorry, I keep
for the CNC with Dave show. If this is your first time coming on this show, we talk about all kinds of things related to hobby CNC. Not hobby CNC, hobby CNC.
No, hobby CNC.
Sometimes we talk about hobby CNC. But this show is brought to you by Gatton CNC and GarageWorks CNC, DIY kits for the CNC enthusiast. And by the way, most of you probably already know this, but this website, www.davegatton.com, is currently under construction. I'm switching it to a new and better thing. So please be patient with me. I may have it ready to go possibly as early as tomorrow, but if not, for sure Monday or Tuesday. I'm just trying to take my time and get this one done a little better than the last one. Of course, if you got any questions, always ask them in the chat there. And we will be doing a drawing for the license plate guitar. And I didn't even bring it in here. I meant to bring it in here, but it currently is plateless. I had an order for to build a couple of left-handed guitars, and the guy wanted a South Carolina plate. And that was the only plate I had, was the one that was on that one. So it's currently plateless. So whoever wins tonight, you can pick out a plate from my collection and I'll put it on there. Let's see here. Also, I want to talk about the CNC Christmas Challenge. Somebody asked me the other morning on the Coffee Sessions stream that I'm doing weekdays at 9, asked me if it was too early to talk about that. And of course, I've already brought it up a few times. But the CNC Christmas Challenge is a challenge just for CNC folks. you know, a lot of the other challenges were the CNC people are kind of, you know, shunned a little bit. So this is just for CNC people. The object of the challenge is to get out in your shop, make a Christmas themed project. Could be like a Santa Claus for the front yard, or some reindeer, a wreath, or I mean, just all kinds of things you can make. Just shoot a short video, 10 minutes or less. Send me the link to the video once you post it on YouTube, and I'll put it in the playlist. And the challenge runs through. I mean, you could start anytime. If you wanted to work on one now, you could start now, but it officially starts on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, which this year is the 29th of November. So it's kind of a shorter time this time than last year, I think. And then it will run all the way up until 11:59 p.m., right before the stroke of midnight on Christmas Eve. And then we'll announce the winners the first Saturday in 2020, or not? No, yeah, 2020. And I'll be, when I get the website up, I'll have something about that Christmas challenge and the rules and stuff. But most of you, if you've done it before, you know the drill. It's basically to shoot a video, send me the link after you've uploaded it. And it's all, one thing I will say, the challenge is all about the project. So if you say, well, I can't do it because I don't have a nice camera and all that, nah, you can use your phone. Doesn't have to be a fancy video. It's more about the project. And another thing that would help too is, I didn't do this last year and I should have. If you can not only send me the link to the video, but also take a good still picture and send it to me, so that I can show during the show and stuff. Because otherwise I have to try to get a screen grab from the video. And sometimes it's hard to do because if you don't show it for more than a few seconds. So anyway, if you do that too, that'd be great. Let's see. I did want to talk about the website just a little bit before we get started taking your questions, which I see I'm getting behind over here on the chat here. Let's see. We got Keith Painter. Yeah, or maybe the winner send their own plate to be fitted on the guitar. Yeah, if you want to do that too, that's fine. Because like I said, that guitar right now is plateless. And in fact, it doesn't have strings or anything. I had to take everything off to get that plate and use it on one of the other ones. But anyway, I did want to talk about the website a little bit. I asked for some input on Facebook, but a lot of you guys maybe not on Facebook. If you want to, if there's something you would like to see on the website that wasn't on the last one, let me know, and I'll try to put, I want to put what you guys want to see on there. One thing I know a lot of folks miss, and I do too, and that's the really cool map thing that Becca Miller used to take care of. The big problem with that was she was putting not only Gatton CNC people, but GarageWorks CNC, the old shoestring budget machines, all of that. I think she called that map World of Gatton CNC or CNC. I forget something about, but anyway, it had stuff all over. And the problem is it got so big that the free place where she was doing that wanted to start charging her. And, she asked me about it if I wanted to keep it up. And I'm like, nah, because it was like $90 a month or something like that. And I thought, nah, I'm not going to do it for that. So, but anyway, some other folks had said they would like to have me put on the website kind of a, we'll call it the Gattoneers Club or something, where if you've built a Gatton CNC, you can let me know. I'm going to have a form on there where you can fill it out if you want to be added to the list. And what the list will be is like, like for example, Jim Senecola's on here. It might say Jim Senecola. He lives in wherever it is you live in Michigan, city and state. And then other people, when they're thinking about buying a Gatton CNC, they look at that list and they go, well, I want to see one in person. So do you have one near me in Michigan? And it might, and if Jim wants to accept visitors to his shop, you'll have that option, because that's one of the things I'm putting in the form, where if, you can still get your name and get listed on the website. But if you don't want people coming to your house to look, then, I'll be able to tell by how you've answered that question, and I won't send anybody over there. I'm not going to give them their, I'm not going to give out any of your information anyway. It's just where they can see city and state, that there's one, 30 miles from their house or whatever. And then I will, take their contact information and give it to you. And if y'all want to meet up, fine. That's all on you guys. But a lot of folks have missed that, not being able to see how many of them are out there and where they're all at and stuff like that. Because, you might find that there's somebody else that has one, and like you have one, and you might be real close, but you don't even know it because you haven't met them. So then you could get together, maybe collaborate on projects or something. So anyway, going to try to do stuff like that. And is there anything you wanted to add, Jim? I know you said before we went live about talking about the website. Anything you want to see?
No, I just, you kind of hit on it. Is, you're going to have a Gatton build section and probably a hardware section and maybe a wiring section. And,
I'm going to try to. It'll be a work in progress, but I'm of course going to have, like I had on the other one, first and foremost, the option to purchase one, a Gatton kit and all that. But I'll have all the build videos on there. I'll be adding the information and all the links to all the other things you need when you get one of these, like I had before. So, you really could buy a kit and do all your shopping right there on that website. Basically, I think there's some things you can't get, through Amazon and stuff like that. But I'll at least have the link that'll take you to McMaster Car or Dumpster CNC or anything like that. So
another good thing.
I hope to have that. Go ahead.
Another good thing could be too is you're testing out all these things other than Mach 3 in a computer. You could have the Linux and Arduino and that, so that, or the Masso or what are these the fellow that talked last week, and just give people different options for putting together a system.
Yeah, because there is a lot of different options. You mentioned most of them. You could run Mach 3, you could run UC CNC, you could run the that rat motor thing that Johnny was on here last week talking about. You could do the
Gerbil Linux, also
the Raspberry Pi that Ryan Ballard talked about 2 weeks ago. A Masso. I mean, there's all kinds of options. So I'll be putting all that stuff on the website too. But
the main thing to keep in mind too is that you have safety in numbers. So if you're going to pick something that's a one-off, maybe people can't answer those questions either. So like Mach 3 is probably the biggest right now, and so you can get a lot of people responding to a question you have.
Yeah, Mach 3 has been around so long. I mean, I first bought my license to Mach 3 over a decade ago, I guess, and it was around a while before I bought it. So there's a lot of support, even though the company says they don't support it anymore. They're not developing it anymore. There's still a ton of support out there for Mach 3 just among the different users. So anyway, I just now noticed this thing's not scrolling down, so I might be missing some.
Mark was just Mark missed, I guess, when you mentioned about your site. He's saying, how about letting folks, or he's reminding you to let folks know again how to order a kit while your site is down, because there are people asking about it.
Yeah, well, it's real simple. I mean, all you got to do is email me. I can always, in fact, I had a guy earlier today message me and ask me about it. And I said, well, you can do it two ways. One, you can wait until I get the website done, or, just send me an email. Tell me what you want. As long as I know what you want, I can send you a PayPal invoice. It's the same day, and you still pay the PayPal invoice with either a PayPal account, a credit card, debit card, whatever. And I don't see that information. It's, how it is when you check out with PayPal. So if you already know what you want, that's fine. Just let me know.
And we do have a Mach 3 question when you're ready for those.
Okay, I see people saying hello to Becca. Is Becca Miller in here?
Yeah, she's in Facebook. She's on Facebook.
Okay, well, I must have.
Her ears must have been ringing something fierce.
Yeah, because I must have. I still don't see her in here, but I'm trying to scroll back. It may have been a while. Yeah. But good to see you on here, Becca. If you're here, I haven't seen you in here in a while.
It's the 5th or 7th from the last comment, so it's not that far back.
Okay. Well, I see you saying hello to Becca, and I see Jeff saying hello to Becca.
Four just before. Well, all it said is Becca joined, so she hasn't commented, or has she? No, not yet.
Okay. Well, well, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at comments. No wonder I haven't seen her. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Frankie's CNC says, "Wait, you take debit?" Yeah, I always have. On the old website, it always has a buy now button or something, and when you hit on it, it takes you to the PayPal site. But there's a little arrow, and a lot of people miss it. There's a right below where it takes you, it'll say pay with debit or credit card, and you can click that and pay with a debit or credit card. You don't have to have a PayPal account. It's just that PayPal is how I get paid. So that's the service I use. So
Ryan Ballard, Dave will batter for 3 sheep.
Dave will batter for 3 sheep.
I don't know about that. Barter. But yeah, I don't know.
Barter.
Maybe
Okay.
not 3 sheep, but you send a PayPal donation of $1,000, and Dave will probably be calling you personally.
No, you're not a dummy, Frankie. You'd be surprised how many people email me and say, I want to buy one, but I don't have a PayPal account. And I keep saying, you don't need one. Just read when you click on that button and again, it goes to the PayPal thing right there, right underneath it. It says pay with debit or credit card, so you
put a big red G up there, Gatton non-PayPal or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's right there. If and it's been like that since day one. So I've always taken. It's just the service I use is PayPal. So that's where my notification comes from. When somebody buys something. But this new website's going to be different too because it has a shopping cart feature where the old one didn't. So you can actually, especially for the people that are buying plans. I know we're talking CNC stuff now, but I do sell quite a few plans for different things that I've made. So now if you want to buy plans, you don't have to buy one and pay for it and then go buy another one and pay for it. You can add it to the cart and then check out and pay for everything at once. So this will be much nicer. And I will eventually do one of two things. I will either change the GarageWorks CNC website over to this, or it may just go away completely. I don't know. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the GarageWorks. But right now, I'm just concentrating on DaveGatton.com website. So, all righty. I think, let's see, we talked about the Christmas tree. Oh, another thing, I don't know if he's out there or not. Mike Sills. Have you seen a Mike Sills out there, Javi?
I have not. Let me check. No.
I don't know if he's out there watching or not, but he sent me a thing earlier, and I may try to either put it on the website or something similar. But he has he made like a spreadsheet calculator where you can plug in the size. I guess you plug in the size of material you want to cut, and it tells you how big your overall machine is going to be. Because it allows for the angle and some room to clamp and stuff like that. So it tells you how wide you need to make it. So I'll probably try to add something like that on there.
Yeah. And always, as always, use that as a guide, because while it's pretty exact the way he had it, he accounts for a certain thickness of space and a certain thickness. If you want more space for more clamping space or working space, then you got to throw that in the mix. So yeah, everything's custom with the Gatton.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's one of the big pluses for the Gatton, is that you can make it with pretty much whatever size you want, really easy. So you're not, whereas when you buy the Garage Works, you buy a certain size. That's it. There's no
but my little tiny 2-inch by 2-inch workspace Gatton is really not very useful, though. I gotta tell you.
Yeah. So, all righty. Well, I guess we're ready to talk CNC stuff. We've got 70 folks watching right now. Some on Facebook, some on the tubes. So thank you all again for tuning in here tonight. We're just going to do kind of a CNC Q&A. So if you got any questions.
Keith had one earlier, a Mach 3 profile question, router profile and laser profile. He switches between them, and when he switches between them, he loses the machine home position. Does anyone else have that problem, he's asking, or is that normal?
Well, I just got a laser running on my machine, and the biggest problem I had, when you only have one profile, like the mill, it was easy. But you get excited, you design a project, and it's a laser project, and you forget to switch to the laser profile. And then funny things happen.
Yeah,
yes, they do.
And I would suspect that if you're using a different profile and you're only saving one output, you're not going to get the same zero for each profile.
Yeah, I'm guessing it zeroes out the zeros, or it could do anything with it, really.
Yeah.
For instance, I use an offset, like Dave has mentioned before about lasers, that because it's on to the side and back of where the router bit would be located. So I go like 3 inches down and then 3 inches over, or something like that. And then it resets the zero for the laser when you're using the laser profile, because I use an offset.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, if I'm understanding what's happening, I mean, when you're using two different machine profiles, you're going to lose your home position unless it's identical with the one you had in the last profile, because you're setting your work coordinate 0 probably a different place than you were, with your laser than you did with your router.
Yeah,
they're going to be different.
Yeah, I just Mark just said it. When you change profiles, you're basically starting Mach 3 over again. So you always need to rehome. That's what I suspected, but I wasn't sure because I'd never had two profiles.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Any other questions out there?
Nothing as of yet.
Okay. Good night, everybody. We'll see.
Well, the other
Later.
nice thing you should think about when you have more than one profile, that you should put them in your My profile so you don't have to scroll through that whole big profile list. Because if you put them in My Post Processor in Mach 3, that's the only ones you'll see.
Yeah, and since we're just doing questions and stuff here, I can do a screen share and show you what we're talking about if anybody wants to see that. But yeah, if you put them in the My Post P folder instead of the Post P folder, you'll only see the ones that you have. But you have to think of it as, when you have different machine profiles, you have to think of it as having two different completely different machines. You know, if you've got one for laser and one for router, even though it's the same machine, I can't even talk tonight. The same machine, when you load out of the profile, it's not going to save any of the stuff, the home position or anything that you had when you were running the last machine. So, anyhow.
Nothing on the list.
Okay.
Let's see. But well, let's pull out some of the old classic questions, like what size, and I know you have a video for this, but what size is, well, actually, let me ask you, Dave, what is, in your opinion, the most common, here's a two-sided question. What is the most common size that people end up building a Gatton to? And secondly, of those, how many do you think are actually don't use them for that purpose? I mean, like, because I imagine a common size is larger than what they need, and then they end up not using it. What's the most common size?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
I really don't know. I mean, all I know is what I read on Facebook and what I see people post. I think most people, not all, but most people will stretch it out like I actually did in the build videos. You know, the build videos, if you watch them thoroughly, you'll know that the build videos don't match the plans, because the plans call for just using a 48 by 48 piece of plywood as the table. So you'd have about a 44, 43, 44 inch cutting area on the X. But when I built that, I went ahead and made it, I can't remember, it seems like I made the table 50, I'm going from memory here. I'll have to watch the videos again to see. I think it was like 56 inches wide, which gave me room to clamp on each side after putting a 48 inch up there. I could go measure it's over at my buddy Jim's house. So,
yeah.
But yeah, that would be, and as far as deep, I don't know. I think a lot of people try to go deep enough that they can cut a 4x4. Why they want to do that? Because I bet you they most likely don't cut a 4x4. But I think a lot of people think that's what they need to make it at least that big.
Yeah, but I've rarely cut anything bigger than.
Greg's backing me up here. I built from the video 56, and then of course the gantry hangs over
14 inches.
3 or 4. No, not.
Oh, you mean the hangs over? Yeah.
Side, 3 or 4 inches.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Greg said he built his 56 by 48.
You got a question from Jeff Naircorn. When you do a 3D project, do you set the X and Y 0 with the smallest bit you're going to use, or does it matter? Not completely understanding the question, but
when you all do a 3D project, X and Y 0 with some. Oh, I guess he's saying just to get you're talking about like if you're setting a 0 in the middle of the blank or something, just to get it.
I always use a V. Well, I use a laser, but a V-bit. is the best way to do that.
Yeah, I think that's what he means. Is because it's harder to get it the X and Y if you've got like a 1/4 inch or something bit. You're just eyeballing the center of that bit. But if you put a V bit or something really small in there, that's going to help you get more accurate. But I don't really think it would matter that much unless because as long as you don't lose that home position,
Yeah,
it won't matter really, even if you're off a little bit.
And that's why I mean, for those of you that don't have homing switches and things like that, and even if you do, I recommend Dave's method, which is, get close to where you want it in the center, and someplace that is not going to be cut, a scrap piece. The first thing you should program is to drill with, say, if you're using a 1/4 inch bit, drill a hole, and then Dave uses that as a reference. So if the machine ever stops.
Yeah, I'm going to get something set up over here since we're talking about this. I can show real quick that will better demonstrate what Javi's just talking about here.
Yeah. Because what I'm basically saying is, and what Dave has explained in the past is, you drill a hole with the first bit you're using. Well, if it's a V bit, forget it if it's a V bit, but something with walls on it where that hole is precisely a certain diameter and it's at one precise place. If somewhere in the middle of the rest of your cut you lose position, then you can restart the machine, go right back to that, and you'll know exactly where, and you can realign your machine.
Yeah, let me screen share real quick. I've got something set up here that'll demonstrate this.
Perfect.
This is actually a fixture. A lot of these lines and knobs and stuff in here don't really mean anything, because this is I think this started out as, let's see, 16 by 12 piece of MDF, and then I come in a 1/2 inch, so this ends up being a 15 by 11, and it's just a piece of 1/2 inch MDF. And all I'm really cutting when I cut this for the fixture is I'm cutting this outside line to set this body down in to use for other things. Well, what I did is I've got a little hole right here, and this is what Javi was just talking about. It's an alignment hole. So I put in my 1/4 inch end mill, and I bring it over, and I use my little pendant to get it where it'll go exactly in that hole. And then I set my 0, and then I also have engraved on this fixture, I know that the X is -5, Y -5, and that means that from here, where I really want to run the program, is from here to this hole is 5 inches this way and 5 inches this way. But see, this is out here on just the skeleton part of this fixture, or something that's not going to be used. So even if I was cutting parts in here, it would be the same thing. So as long as you have some kind of a hole that you know how far it is from where you really want to set your 0, or you could use the offset in VCar Pro too, for that matter, and you could leave it right at that hole.
Yep. Ryan's asking if anyone is running their controller through a UPS in case of outages. Well, my issue with the UPS is that you got to run the controller, but if you have an outage and you have the UPS on the controller, you better also better have the spindle in the router, or the, well, no, because as long as because if the machine ends up continuing to move in an outage, and because you have a UPS but you don't have the router on, that could be dangerous. I wish I had a UPS that beefy.
I don't know of anybody that would do that. I mean, you could, I guess, but it's not that big a deal when the power goes out.
Yeah. What I do
Like I
have,
said, if the only way it's a big deal is if you don't have homing switches and you didn't make a reference hole or someplace where you can find where you were at. Even if you don't have homing switches, if you make that little hole somewhere on the skeleton and you either use that for your work zero or you know how far it is from your work zero, you're fine. It don't matter how many times the power goes out. But
now a piece of advice for people that are thinking, well, maybe I'll just put the computer, which I did once, on a UPS and left the controller off. So if you lose power, the whole machine will shut down, but the computer will, with Mach 3 will keep all the coordinates. Well, that's fine and dandy, except trust me when I tell you, once that controller loses power in the middle of a thing, all numbers are off. Even by, it could be by a 1/16 of an inch, it could be by a 1,000th of an inch. They're going to be off. I guarantee you, because when I started it back up, based, and just continued, it was, you get if you've ever done it and you don't align it perfectly in the middle of a job, you'll get the ghost image, and it's.
Yeah, I personally would rather not use a UPS and just have it stop and have to reset everything. Because, like you said, if it moves, that little bit of time between the power being off and the UPS coming on.
Yeah, Rob has his entire CNC on a UPS. See, that's the ideal situation. Then you don't have to worry about it. But that for a 220 spindle and a vacuum system, and you're talking about a lot of amperage.
Yep. Let's see, where'd it go? I saw a comment and it just disappeared on me.
What was the comment?
I thought I saw somebody say. I thought it was from Rob. Maybe he got rid of the comment. I don't know. Because I did that one. Okay, let's see. Hi, Dave. How you doing? All right. Anything else? Let's see. What is he talking about here? You could have icons for Mach 3 laser and Mach 3 normal. When you click the correct icon, no problem, as no profile is needed. It is set in the Mach 3 when set up for the machine type when saved. Will that solve the problem? I don't think so.
Not the zero homing problem. That's always gonna be, like Mark said, it's a new machine setup.
Yeah. You got a different set of parameters. Yeah. I always recommend making two different profiles.
Terry Cup is asking about anyone having any experience engraving granite. Terry, I had a sign shop and I used to engrave granite headstones for a few of my customers with a laser and with a CNC, with a burring tool. So ask your question. I'm more than happy to delve into it. And some others here have also, I'm sure, worked with granite. There's numerous ways, including Tim's there, sandblasting.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
Yeah, I remember one specific one. This gentleman came into my shop, and he wanted a small headstone, and I picked out a nice. You have to pick a very, very solid piece of granite or marble, preferably dark if you're going to laser, because it lasers white, and if you have it with a lot of flex, you lose the image. If it's just words or you're doing deep letters, that's one thing, but if you're doing, for instance, he had a German Shepherd dog that passed away, and he loved that dog. Apparently, I mean, you could see it in the emotion that he came in with the store, and he lost the dog, and he gave me a picture of the dog, and sure enough, I digitized it and hit it with the laser and put the inscription, and he was extremely happy. But you know, a dog can be, you know, man's best friend can be quite a loss. Ryan, were your clients dying for your services?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, business is dead.
What about a thick washer embedded in the spoil board and running macro to find the center of the washer and know the coordinates to your workpiece if power fails? Well, basically what you're saying though is you're going to use to find the center of the washer, and that's basically your homing position. You know, if you don't, because if you've got homing switches, I'm telling you folks, it ain't a big deal if the power goes off.
Yeah, on my machines, I've got oddly enough, I've got a homing switch mounted exactly at the 0, 0 spot of my spoil board. So that is always, when I turn it on, always in the same spot, and it's machine 0, 0. If I know my work 0, 0, I can always reset from a power outage. The other option that maybe not a washer, Keith, but if you have a square with basically like kind of like the XYZ plate. If you have think of a donut, but in a square, because you actually want to take it in one direction first and then in another direction. A washer, you never know where you're going to hit it because it's circle. But with XY, you could theoretically drop it in the circle and make a little macro to hit both sides. But that's just like, that's a little Rube Goldbergian. I mean, it's,
yeah.
Or you can get a triple edge finder.
Or you can get a triple edge finder and set
Well,
it.
Keith was saying, you know, he's saying he doesn't have homing switches. And like I said, if you don't have homing switches, that's not a big deal either. If you use your head and mark a spot, it doesn't really matter where on that skeleton you do it, just as long as you do it ahead of time before your power failure and you know where that is from your work zero. That's, you know, it's all you're doing is finding a point that you know where it's at. You bring it to that point and you say, okay, that's my zero, but I know to the middle of the material where I started this thing 4 hours ago before the power went off, it's 20 inches over and 6 inches up or whatever. You know, as long as you know that, you're fine. You don't have to, and it only takes a second to move it over there and hit a hole. A little divot is all you need something to mark it to know where you're at.
Yeah,
it's
without a homing switch. I mean, you could bury a triple edge finder even with the spoil board, and then you'd have to manually put your bit in the vicinity, and then it would go one way, and find all three. But
Greg says maybe a live demo may be in order sometime when you're looking for show content. Okay, yeah, I'll have to do one. I've done videos on this very
and live shows on it.
Yeah, live shows and
quite a few
short videos on this very topic.
What's old is new again.
Yeah, always comes around again. Why would people not have homing switches? Patrick's workshop says. A lot of people, I mean, I ran my machine for years without them. Never needed them.
Yep.
But then when I finally thought, well, I'll, because I was really doing it just to kind of show other people how to do it. And then after I did them, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of handy. It's nice to, of course, I like mine home back and to the right, so it's out of the way.
Yeah, and I like mine front left.
Yeah. A lot of people like it front left, or I just like when the job finishes and I know I'm done and I'm getting ready to shut it off, I can hit reference all home and it'll move up and get back out of the way. And while it's doing that, I'm unclamping the thing and when it gets done and I come back out the next day and turn the machine on, I hit reference all home and it just beep, 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 it's right there. So
Good point. Good point. Yeah, because I also have a macro that will take it to the far end, but it's 3624 in one of my cases, and then yeah, I guess when I started up new, it still keeps those numbers. So I tell it to go home, and it's in the general vicinity of home, and then I'll just hit the homing switch. But yeah, it's extra steps. So I see the advantage of putting home way up there.
Yeah. I like it there. Mark says he ran without homing switches for 2 years. No big deal. Yeah, it's really not. I mean, homing switches are nice to have. But again, if you just use your head and go, okay, this is a really long carve. If something happens, I'm screwed. So I better make me a safety spot where I know what I can call that zero.
But once you have them, you'll never go back.
Yeah, yeah. So let's see what we got over here. This thing. Nor have I looked into how to wire them up. Yeah, Mark's done a video on how to wire them. I mean, I've done shows on.
I've done a video on how to wire them. It's somewhere in my old videos. And you've done 2 or 3, Dave.
What happens when you leave the door open or unlocked? How you doing, Mr. Meadows? Good to see you on here, buddy.
Hey, Russ.
Mark says, without homing switches, there can be an issue using a touch plate to set Z0. Trying to think what could cause an issue, because it's really the homing switches set your well, I mean, they set the X, Y, and Z, but if you're using a touch plate to set your Z0 for your workpiece, either
yeah, I have my setup is a little different. I have to look into it, how it's programmed, because I gotta take a look, because I have a machine zero. I have a hard limit where it will never go past that hard limit. But if it thinks it's somewhere else, or you put a longer bit and you don't tell it, then clearly it's gonna.
Yeah. He says after the bit touches off, it will try to plunge in the spoil board. I'm not seeing it. I don't.
Well, if you hit the top, if you by accident on Vectric do top of the spoil board instead of top of the bed, I mean top of the.
Yeah, but I was going back to his first comment here. He says, without homing switches, there can be an issue using a touch plate to set Z0. And then he says, after the bit touches off, it'll try to plunge into the spoil board. Well, that would be
if you didn't set it. If you didn't set the Z. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little confused as
but when you use a touch plate, it's going to set the Z anyway. Once it makes the contact, because then if your script's right, I'm not understanding that one. I guess let's see. Move the Z to the top of its travel. Go into machine coordinates and reference all home.
Then set Z0 with the touch plate. Top of travel, machine coordinates.
Machine coordinates. Reference all. Now you're talking about if you don't have homing switches,
right? Well, yeah. If you don't have it is true. It is true, because, well, on my machine I have a homing switch at the top of the Z, so when it homes, it will always go up to the top of the Z. The bottom of the Z is wherever your touch plate is, or wherever, and in combination with your tool.
I must be an idiot, because I'm not seeing it. I don't see what the homing switches has to do with using a touch plate to set the Z. Because even if you move the Z to the top of its travel, and go into machine coordinates and reference all home, and then move the Z, and then set the Z0 with a touch plate. All I know is on my machine, it's still
Yeah.
going to set the Z separately, whether I use the homing switches or not.
Yeah.
I'm not following that one, Mark.
Hey, Dave, is the homing switches is for the machine, the total bed, and the Z for the part is the work offset, right? So when
You got machine coordinates and work coordinates.
right,
The machine
so your work
coordinates
coordinates is where you're going to put the 0 for the part,
right.
right?
Yeah. Machine coordinates is, well, it's a reference.
It's a reference to your whole bed if you're going
It's
to
a
the
reference to
limit
the whole
of your-
bed. My
Right.
machine coordinates on my machine, the X0 and Y0 is always at the very corner of the spoil board, because that's the way I have it set, when that's where the homing switches are. My work coordinates is obviously wherever I set the X and 0. My Z machine coordinate is top of the Z. Always, because that's where the homing switch is. And the work coordinates is wherever I send a touch plate signal to. So, and I'm trying to think, because even without the homing switch, the only problem is that I see, that maybe Mark's referring to this, is that if it's lower and it thinks its machine is at 0, and then you set a new 0.
So he's saying here the macro for the Z0 that is used with the touch plate will retract the bit to a certain position above machine Z0. That's not how mine works.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Mine
Yeah.
retracts to a certain position above the work 0, not machine 0. Because when I use my touch off plate, it goes up 1 inch, including the thickness of my touch plate, which is 1/8 of an inch.
He meant below 0. Yeah. Okay. So,
But I know he's using a different. If he's using that, what do you call it? The
triple edge.
Yeah, triple edge finder. Thank you, Jim. I couldn't think of it. He's using a different script, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few different ways of doing it. If I hit a touch plate, the thing is my Z is always up in the air, and then if I hit a touch plate, it will go quickly down a certain amount. No, actually, it'll travel at a regular speed until it hits the. But it doesn't take long to travel 4 or 5 inches, and then it'll go nice and slowly. Tap the touch plate. As soon as it hits it, it will re-tap it even slower, and then go right back up to its original position.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I see somebody says it's the macro. Mark says no, the macro's fine. I'm just can't get my head wrapped around it, because we're talking about two different things: the machine 0 and when you're 0 in the bit with the touch plate. That's two different things. So, and I thought I was nuts. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I see other people are saying that their works fine too. So I don't know. Yeah. Okay. We'll have to. I bet he does a video on it.
Yeah. He has a video on it. He said, I think.
Okay. Well, we need video on it there.
Yeah. But yeah, and the problems you can run into, because my issue is on my machine is there is an order in which I have to, if I switch bits, I have to my machine remembers the bit length. So if I switch bits and then hit the touch tone home, touch top, or actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, I have to remember if I switch a bit to hit. There's two functions on mine. One is measure the bit, and it'll go to a specific location off the side of the bed where there is a fixed height touch plate bolted to the side. Fixed height. It will not change from that site, and then that way, no matter, and that's useful for me because in the middle of a job, I'm doing 5 or 6 bits. I don't have to stop. Well, stop the bit, yes, but I don't have to stop I don't have to reload, do tool paths. So it will. I'll zero once, and it'll know the zero with that bit. Run the first tool path. Ask me to change a bit, and then it will go back to measure the next bit. So every time it runs a tool path, the first thing it does is measure the bit. The first bit is this is the height. This is the tool path. And then the next bit it will compensate and adjust the Z for that. That's. Why did I say all that? It's hard to. It's hard to fathom if you don't have it. But it's a cool system.
Yeah.
No, Javi, did you write that macro for the bit height?
Yes. I wrote one of them. The other one was already written when I got the other machine. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting macro. All it is just changing G54. I don't know, whichever you're working. I forgot which one it is, but it changes the Z reference. It does a simple calculation and changes it.
Okay, we got a couple of questions we got to get to here, guys. Yeah. Kimberly Thorne, welcome. I don't know if I've seen you on here before. She says, okay, this may seem like a strange question. I have only one router and it fits only 1/4-inch shank bits. Should I get 1/4-inch bits or a different collet adapter?
That's a good one.
Well, I ran for years. I ran a Porter Cable 690, and it comes with a collet for 1/4-inch and a 1/2-inch. But most of the time, I always run 1/4-inch shank bit. So you could get a different collet adapter, or you could get a muscle chuck thing. Yep. Those are really nice.
That's my suggestion. Yeah. I have a similar scenario, except it's since I have the 1/2-inch shank on the spindle, I would say that if you didn't have a muscle chuck, I would say go with a different collet, because you're better off. It'll hold tighter. There's a lot of people out there that don't trust adapters, rightly so, when you're using a collet. You don't want to use a collet and one of those little reducer adapters, because they do tend to run out. Now with the muscle chuck, it's a whole different story. The way it holds is kind of gripping sideways. So I've never had a run out with an adapter. But as far as using, I would recommend using the biggest shank bit you can. If you need to use a tiny ball nose, see if you can get it in 1/4 shank. But there are cases where I have to on the machine use a 1/8-inch bit or a 1/16-inch bit even, and I will throw in a reducer in there. But you're better off using the bigger shank, less noise, less chance of breakage.
A lot of people will buy 1/8-inch collets for 1/8-inch bits, but I always buy my 1/8-inch bits with the 1/4-inch shank.
Yeah,
I don't like the little dinky.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
Let me get a couple more questions here. Then we got a guitar to give away tonight.
Hmm.
Brian, welcome, Brian. I don't know that I've seen you on here before. It says totally off topic. How are you not using headphones and not getting echo feedback? It's really very simple. I am using a Blue Yeti microphone that's pointed right at me, right at my face.
Yep.
And I have it on the cardioid, I believe it's called, setting, so that it's only picking up what's in front of it. It doesn't really pick up behind it. And I'm using my computer speakers that are behind my monitor, so they're well behind this microphone. And therefore, as long as I have those speakers loud enough, I mean, they're plenty loud enough where I can hear the sound and hear everybody talking.
Yep.
It's not so loud that the mic doesn't pick it up because it's behind the mic. So I see people all the time doing streams and stuff, and they wear headphones. I've got a set of them, and I hate them. I don't like wearing headphones. But as long as you have your settings right and your volume not too loud on your speakers, you can do this all day long, and you won't have an echo.
Yep.
Are you? Let me ask you a question, Brian. Since you're asking that, I'm assuming you might be a live streamer or something. Just curious. Let's see. We got a few more questions. I'm trying to get all these questions wrapped up here. Let's see. I thought I saw some more. Okay. I think I see what's going on here now with Mark's issue. Let's see if I get the right highlighted thing. Without homing the machine first, the machine Z0 may be below the height of the spoil board. And again, he's talking if you don't have homing switches, I guess. He says this can cause the bit to plunge downward rather than lift up.
Oh, he's saying, let's say it's really, really low. Then he manually puts it up, puts a bit in, and then hits touch plate, and he thinks, and it'll go down. Is that it?
I don't know. But anyway, somebody else said they had where'd it go? Yeah, Ron says, I have had that same issue if you don't zero before you use the touch plate. But when he's saying zero, I'm assuming, we were talking about if you don't have homing switches, right? So I guess he's meaning if you don't hit reference all home, which will set your machine zeros to zero. I'm still trying to figure out how you would ever have that machine zero below, what was it you said?
Below the spoil board.
Below the height of the spoil board. Unless you're going from a short bit to
a longer bit. Right.
I guess. I don't know. I've just never had that problem, so I have trouble understanding when somebody else starts talking about something like that. Let's see. Dave Gatt, not a live streamer, but always wonder how people do it without headphones. Thanks for explaining. Yeah, it's really easy. The trick is to just not have your speakers cranked up real loud.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, even in Hangouts when we have a lot of people, we always know who's echoing, and we just tell them,
we're going to get Mark Lindsay to come on here and demonstrate it.
There you go.
But he's under the weather. That's why I've seen some people say, yeah, send him a link, and I haven't sent him a link because I know he's not feeling just real great. So get well, Mark, and then we'll have you on here, and we'll see you bury one in the spoil board live.
How to trash a spoil board.
All righty. Well, we got a little old guitar to give away. Let me get that set up here. Get the Wheel of Dave open.
Wheel of Dave.
We had, by my count, 30. Let's see. Let me look again and see what it was. 34 people on this list. And when I took down that other website, it didn't take me long after I took it down. People were going, well, now I can't register for the guitar drawing. And I thought, oh yeah, it was on the link was to that thing. But, I posted that, just send me an email and I put you on there, whatever. But
Hey, Dave.
I got everybody on here. A couple people that sent me emails and said, hey, put me on there. They were already on here anyway. But
Hey, Dave.
A couple other. Yes.
Here's what the guitar will look like, except it'll have it. Might have a different fretboard.
Well, kind of. Each one I make is
slightly
I can't even
different.
remember which one you got. I think it's got the same kind of headstock, but I think it's got different fret markers and stuff like that. But yeah, it'll have a different different plate for sure. And whoever wins can pick out the plate. So are we ready to, let me see if I got my, yep, I got my 90-second timer. So we'll go over the rules real quick. I'll spin the wheel here, and whatever name it comes on, the rule is you have to be watching live in order to claim it. So once we call out the name, or you'll see it on the screen with the screen share here, I'll hit my 90-second timer, and you'll have until that buzzer goes off to comment in the wherever you're watching, whether it be Facebook or YouTube. We're streaming to both places. So anyway, we're going to start this off, and we'll see if whoever it picks is watching tonight.
Drum roll. Wheel of Dave.
All right, Joe Downard, you have 90 seconds from right now to claim your prize, and you do that by letting us know that you're watching live.
There it is.
Is he there?
There, yep.
Wow. Joe, you did that in like record
time.
Congratulations.
That's excellent.
All right. Let me, while I got you on here, Joe, let me confirm. I'm not going to say your street address or anything. I just want to make sure that I've got your address here. I should have it. Yeah, you're in Michigan, I think. So, okay, we're good. So congratulations, Joe Downer. I will also, if you want to pick the plate, and of course now my website's down, so I don't have those pictures up. But if you look through my Facebook timeline, you'll see where I posted pictures of all the different license plates. Or if you want one from Michigan, let me look. I don't even know if I've got one from Michigan. Let's see if I do.
I gave you one.
Yes, I do have one from Michigan. So if you want a Michigan on it, I can do that. Or if you want something else, you just have to let me know what it is, and I can send you pictures of the ones I've got. And you can tell me which one you want. Because it doesn't matter to me. They're all, I won't say they're all the same, because they all are. A lot of them are different as far as the way you have to do the bridge and stuff. But that's why I haven't gone ahead and put this one back together, is because every time I put them together and then somebody wins and they want a different plate, I usually have to make a new bridge too, because the raised letters are different.
He says Michigan would be perfect.
Okay, Michigan it is, and Joe Downer with a Michigan plate. All right. Anybody else have any questions before we get out of here? I know, George, I was going to try to, where'd that question?
What's on the docket for next week, Dave?
Let's see. Let me catch this right quick here.
Oh, yeah.
He says, how long before Dave Gatton CNC is back up running. Are you talking about the website? It may be up and going as early as tomorrow. If not, probably Monday or Tuesday. Like I said, I'm taking my time getting it right, and I've got a lot of things to add to it. And of course, I have to test it too. I can't throw it up there and find out there's something wrong with it that I did. So, all right. Now, next week, if I don't see any questions, next week we are having the Linux CNC gang on here. There's been a few guys been after me to do a Linux CNC show, and of course, I don't know anything about Linux, so I'm depending on the folks that use it. But there's several folks. As far as I know, we're going to have Rob Schuster. I think Dave Matthews, not the band guy, not Dave Matthews Band, the other one. Alan Kreifels has been using Linux for a while, and also I haven't heard from him, but I'm hoping to get Marlo Swedinsky too, because I think he, I think, well, I'm pretty sure he uses Linux, but I don't know if I can get him or not. So, yeah, anybody wants to send me plates, you can send them. I got more plates in the mail today. I haven't posted them yet, but good old Carl Jacobson from out there around where Mark lives in Oregon, he sent me some 3 Oregon plates today. So Patrick wants to know who uses Linux for their Gatton CNC. There's a few folks that use Linux. Anyway, we're going to do the show about Linux CNC, and especially for you people that are new and haven't built your machine or are in the process of building a machine, that you may want to look at it, because that's another option for you as far as controlling it. So,
yep. The pros is it is free. Most cases, it is more stable. In most cases, the cons, there's a high learning curve and it takes a lot of manual programming. That's the long and the short of it.
Yeah. I also want to take this opportunity before we get off here tonight to invite everybody to join me 9 a.m. weekdays Eastern time for the coffee sessions. I've been doing that. It's a non-serious
a non-serious non-CNC.
Yeah, I mean we'll answer a C question here and there if we have to. It's mostly just sitting around drinking coffee and chatting with folks and talking about different topics. We've had all kinds of different discussions. But anyway, I didn't know if some of y'all might not know I'm even doing that, but you can watch it on either Facebook or YouTube. And anybody that wants to join me on the stream can actually come on too as well. So feel free to do that. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. We had another pretty decent show tonight, I think. Had some good questions, and hopefully anybody new or anybody that didn't know what we were talking about knows now. That's what we're here. We're here to share knowledge and experience and all that good stuff. Yeah. So, Mr. Santacola, thank you as always for joining me from the great state of Michigan up there, and about as far away from Jim as he can get is I'll be down in.
I'll get closer next month when I'm back at the homestead.
Yeah, down in Miami. So,
yeah.
So anyway, so thank you all so much, guys. Let me take one more quick peek. I don't see any questions. I guess we're good.
Yep.
Yeah, Troy Pritchard sums it up pretty good. He's talking about the coffee sessions, the BS session, good conversations. Yeah.
Yep. Always different.
This guy right here is always there. Thanks. I appreciate your support, Hitch. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. Thank you all for tuning in. And this time I'm going to try to hit the right button. So
See
good night, everybody. Have a great weekend. Mark, Lindsay, hope you get feeling better. Get busy getting those videos out. I don't know how I'm going to get by. I might find somebody else to watch tomorrow while I drink my coffee. So good night and have a good one, folks. We'll see you next week.
Good night, folks.
Whoop. That's, yeah, still hit the wrong button.
Dun, 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 dun.